Now, Boris has had a busy day, as earlier he told a press conference he'd had a good old chinwag with Prince Charles, who's expressed his personal sorrow at the suffering caused by Britain's role in the slave trade. The heir to the throne made the comments today while opening a major Commonwealth summit in Rwanda, which is why, of course, the Prime Minister is also there. In his speech, he said the organisation's potential could only be reached by recognising the wrongs of the past.
I want to acknowledge that the roots of our contemporary association run deep into the most painful period of our history. I cannot describe the depths of my personal sorrow at the suffering of so many, as I continue to deepen my own understanding of slavery's enduring impact.
When it comes after his son, Prince William, has today been criticised for speaking out about the Windrush scandal at the unveiling of a statue celebrating Caribbean migrants who arrived in Britain. He said discrimination remains an all-too-familiar experience for black men and women today.
Only a matter of years ago, tens of thousands of that generation were profoundly wronged by the Windrush scandal. That rightly reverberates throughout the Caribbean community here in the UK, as well as in many in the Caribbean nations. It is also important to acknowledge the ways in which the future they sought and deserved has yet to come to pass.
But the talk's own Esther Kreku says that, like the Queen, the Prince should instead be talking about what unites us rather than what divides us. So are the royals out of touch when it comes to race relations? Isabel?
Well, I'm sure they are out of touch when it comes to race relations, but I'm probably going to find them on my own with this one. But I personally don't think that Prince Charles or Prince William should be harping on about slavery. I mean, slavery in the UK was ended over 200 years ago. So I don't believe it's really for the royals now, today's generation of royals, to be continually bringing it up again as if it is, you know, something that's on their watch. You know, this is very, very historic. Of course it was awful, and of course it's right that we all acknowledge it was awful, it should never have happened, and so on. But to be really pressing home that point continually at a meeting of the Commonwealth heads of government, I feel doesn't unite us. And I know you've got a different view on our colleague Esther Kreku's article. I haven't read it, but I think just from the headline of her talking about a focus on what unites us, that's surely something you could agree with, no?
Yeah, no.
OK.
Slavery ended however many hundred years ago in a say, but we're still paying taxes to the slave owners.
Yep.
Like, what, 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Like, the effect of slavery is still benefiting those people today. And the people who were slaves are still currently suffering more because of it. Esther's article, nice enough commentator, but it's complete tosh. She moved to this country from Ghana, I think, when she was 14. She hasn't grown up here culturally to understand what it's like to be a black person in this country with the establishment and all those kind of things. But also, William and Charles, racism is a problem in this country. To say it doesn't exist, and then to have William go and speak and do the Windrush Day, he could not go there and say nothing about slavery.
I agree with you. I think he's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't.
But I don't think he should be damned.
Exactly.
Imagine if he hadn't done it. It would have been so deeply insensitive, and actually it would have made the whole thing completely ludicrous.
So they got to do it forevermore, then?
Well, yes, I think they have to do it as long as they need to do it. I think they have to do it until the black community, the Asian community, Jewish community in this country aren't experiencing racism.
Doesn't it just sound
that they have
wrong?
equal opportunities. No, it doesn't sound
no,
wrong
it's
at all.
when the royal there's something about, you know, Prince Charles, and, you know, even if you are, you know, a royalist, I think we have to. But Prince Charles talking about slavery and all that goes with it, and, you know, we can debate.
No, I think it's absolutely the right thing. What else was he meant to talk about?
Well, I don't know why we're talking about slavery, as Isabel said, 200 years later. I know what JJ is saying.
However, the effect goes on and on, and the trauma goes on and on.
How does the trauma go on and on today?
Because it's a visceral thing, and it goes on and on and on. It's from generation to generation.
Nobody today experienced slavery.
Right.
But that doesn't mean there's no racism.
Wait a second.
They do.
Nobody today experienced
No, but hang on a minute.
Slavery.
For example...
My ancestors were put up chimneys,
Wait a minute.
Right.
This is very, very serious and not at all amusing. It really is.
It's not meant to be amusing.
No, but this is the situation. Let's imagine that your father is a Holocaust survivor. So let's imagine he was in a concentration camp or he escaped on a Kinder transport train. So let's imagine that he has seen things and experienced things.
Correct.
Mass genocide, you know, a chimney going up in smoke, knowing that people are being burned to death in it, turned into bars of soap. He's seen that every day. He's seen the most appalling examples of man's inhumanity to man. But he's your dad. Maybe he's driving a cab, maybe he's running a business, whatever it is. But your life in your family won't be like a family life with a dad who hasn't been through that.
Yeah.
The post-trauma of your father's
So is there, but everybody...
but then in your
respect.
personality, and there's no respect here if you say this, then the way you are then formed as a character, with a father who's been through that, and then the father that you then turn out to be
so
your children.
Is that forever?
Well, it might well be forever. The
It's
legacy of that goes on forever and ever. Is that not true?
Completely true. My surname is, as you know, Nigerian. If you're a Jamaican, you have a white person surname. There's people called Collins. There's loads of Jamaicans with Scottish surnames.
No, I don't.
And they cannot now find where they're from, where their ancestors are from. And to you, it may make no difference because you know where you're from.
It does make a difference.
It makes huge difference, and that's still happening today.
I agree.
So to say that slavery ended 200 years ago, now everything's great again.
No, but nobody would ever say it's great, and nobody would ever suggest it's not talked about and educated, and we don't talk about racism. However, I think Esther's point was about having a focus on what unites. And I sense that of recent times, we've spent a lot of time talking about what divides us, and I find that disappointing and rather dangerous.
Can't we all say that what unites us is a stance against anti-racism, and that to talk about racism in itself is not a political subject?
It's a necessity. It's absolutely essential. It would have been discourteous and absurd if they hadn't done it, and they did.